We did it. We did it all. We made it to the finish line. I can see it right there on the horizon. It's beautiful. It's glorious. It's ETF2L 6v6 Autumn 2024, and it's week 7. Get the party poppers out. Get the guests in, as I'm going to celebrate it with your very own Turbo Tabs alongside Ben PL. Ben, have you got your noisemakers?
Absolutely, it should be great. And as you say, it's really rising to a climax this season. Week 7 already, still a fair few games left to be played, a couple from earlier weeks also. And yeah, all's on the line. There's all these playoff spots to go. There's obviously teams prepping for Land 2 that's just around the corner. It's really happy times in TF2.
Yeah, full of excitement, full of action-packed. If you're finding us here on the print stream, then congratulations, you've passed the test because you found the game that actually matters, the one that actually has some kind of implications. Isn't that right, Ben?
Yeah, it's kind of weird because as of about there was a 2-hour window last night when it didn't. When so obviously Mandem won 6-0 originally, and there was about 2 hours where SKEDDA were in the clear. They know that the worst they can finish is 4th. They're into playoffs. It's fine. And then suddenly someone pokes the admins and is like, didn't a certain someone play an alt account in that game? And the game gets overturned.
Name and shame them, Ben. Don't be scared.
Nobody, on the blacklist at all. There's the sub coming in, didn't remember to change off it, an old account, and yeah, they've been done for it. So the default has gone the way of Garda, which now potentially puts SKEDDA in some peril. They now need to win a map. They're not home and dry yet.
Yeah, it's kind of bonkers, kind of crazy. Always fun to have these sort of last-minute twists in the series of ETF2L's kind of grand season. So let's talk about this match in particular, the one that SKEDDA needs to win. Obviously, SKEDDA are playing in it, so, I hope you have been paying attention, Twitch chat. But we've also got Danish Tyrant regime. So what is the likelihood here? Is it looking pretty good in this 8-ball kind of prediction of this map?
If you look at the table in a vacuum, right, DTR, they've not had, the greatest season. They've had a lot of close games, but not really close games that are going in their favour. They've only won one map all season. But the one thing that's looking good for Danish Tyrant regime is that one map win was against Samakot, and it was on Sunshine, and that's where we're starting out. So perhaps the pick ban could be working into their favour, but purely if you just look at the players in the roster and the positions in the tables and their previous results, SKEDDA should be big favourites.
Yeah, I like your premise of explaining DTR in a vacuum about, it looks like they've not had a hot season, but I've been watching a few games of theirs, and there's got something about these Danish Tyrant regimes. They certainly have strengths, but my, do they have weaknesses. They're an interesting team. There's not one of those ones where they're just across the board bad and worse than everybody else. They've got some punch to them. And if they could just line these punches, about 5 times in a row for each round, they might be able to sneak one out here against old SKEDDA, who might be still a bit tilted, a bit rocked from the news.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, like I say, they've lost a lot of battles, but they'd never go down without a fight. They've had so many close runs, a lot of golden caps. But this time, they could really be the party poopers up against SKEDDA, who need to win. We're here on Sunshine as we get the rollouts underway.
All right, if you're just showing us, this is our Sunshine map of SKEDDA versus Danish Tyrant regime. And already, Davey is turning up nice, bright and early, and already tagged though, because Base God is quite the sticky lord, manager to actually pick out things. Doesn't matter in the end though, they do enough healing and they throw their soldiers across the point. Peter and Nikki will die for the cause, but as the cause created enough sort of power for them to go across, Ams is having to deal with their own sort of causes in the backline. Will trade out, and when the dust is settled, it's Demo versus Scout versus Demo, and yeah, they will lose out on their own Horde or Scout, so they're going to have to back out here over on Danish Tyrant regime.
Yeah, the one scout having to go behind, they're getting traded out is absolutely massive, because for a moment there was the 3 players on SKEDDA's side caught in their own valley with very little space to work with. So when that trade comes through, it gives them so much more license to come forward. And yeah, DTR, they have to back out, they have to get themselves set up on second, but to get in for the long haul. Okay. Maybe not too long, because Nicky's already been caught in choke.
Yeah, I'd say caught. More like he offered. He just kind of like turned up at the choke area, immediately got shot by 3 people that were trying to push out choke. Geordie, though, he managed to jump out in the same sort of vein. So just showing him how it's done, really, with that sort of offsetting pressure. Now with 1 player down and on the back foot on a map like Sunshine, it's very sheepish to actually hold on to this. They actually pop off Uber because they're just so pressured here on Danish Tyrant regime. They dip the scout fully into the fight here. Smiles trying to force out an Uber. Won't get the force out of Mac, though. They will lose poor base god because of this sort of milking, and hopefully they don't lose out here just because of this demo man. But they're still fighting here on Danish Tyrant regime. They've got some belief that this demo man down could still pull this out here, and they just don't want to risk things. Mac maybe caught out of bounds, finally gets forced out by Ams, who's taking matters into his own hands, gets a bonus kill on the back fly as well. So massive play coming out from Ams there, forcing out the Uber, getting a pick and delaying things against SKEDDA.
Yeah, really good work, honestly, from DTI. I saw that Uber come in and I thought, yeah, they get the kill into Lucas eventually. It still takes quite a while, but the fact that Mac's taking basically no damage, the Uber charge not forced out either. It was looking so good. So they have to keep the chaos going. They cannot allow second point to fall with Mac still having advantage. So we saw the rest of the team there. They're trying to salvage back in. The scouts running in at the medic. There's a soldier fighting in Valley 2. The distraction was there. And speaking of distraction, there's a bit of distraction over there on the flank as Nicky is a.
What the rocket!
Oh,
Johnny's so good at the game. Gets a nice couple of directs on that poor medic, and to give SKEDDA some credit as well, it's nice sort of like jumping around and dodging, but you just can't dodge the man.
97% on that blue Uber charge. I'm just saying how important it was to keep that Uber up and equalise it out, but now Mac is going to have pretty much a flat out 100% advantage here. Second point flips into the blue, but SKEDDA, they're going to be coming in so quickly. And again, once more, we're going to see DTR in a situation where they're going to have to try and force this Uber charge out of Mac on the way in, but this time Lucas is alive. The Demoman is there to assist this push.
Yep. Nicky trying to jump on top of Jordan. He manages to get back to the nestle of his Uber charge, and Menix in the flank will be suffering, however. Ams is already going for the back cap, so he's probably going to commit the rest of his team to try and defy this second point capture, but they're taking their time with it. Finally, Nicky comes in, last second and last opportunity to... Oh, but it doesn't quite work out. He delays it, but that is only it, a delay, as they will cap it out. It's just those sort of mid-capture, Paul. Ben, it will not work quick enough in the game of TF2.
Yeah, it's just such a long cap time on the middle point. As now the last salvage comes in, one nice rocket over to Mac. Ams not quite able to get into follow-up, but honestly, the flank there, winning the 2 fights out in Valley was great work from the flank. Ams and Co getting in behind and just delaying enough time, the point flipping back and forth. There's players coming on the spawners, getting caught out, 2 players having to go back to mid. Now means the Uber charges aren't even warped with yeah, I guess. That's no good call, isn't it? Back to the team. Oh, they're dead. You know.
Yeah, I think it was just they were feeling a bit sheepish about pushing in just because of the Uber charge was acquired by SKEDDA at that point. They throw warped in. He immediately dies to the stickies hidden on the traffic cone on point, and they just thought, well, that signs off this push, and they just decided to back out instead.
Yeah, the thing is, once you've had that early wave of aggression, like before the gun's getting built up, that's the easiest time to get in. Now, there's a gun getting built up. There's a sniper over there on Smile as well. Everyone's in position. Uber charge is ready on both these sides, and this is where things can really grind to a halt. So it gets harder and harder as the time goes on for SKEDDA, as they potentially look to go back in. Are they going to send soldiers, or are they going to send this sniper of Menix that they've newly acquired?
Yep. Pretty cookie cutter, just rocking the pyro, protecting the sentry gun, or everybody hanging out on the left-hand side. They do have, obviously, Davey actually switching out, rotating on the right. Sometimes you see the odd Demoman playing out on the left, but not this team. Menix is going to pick off the roaming soldier. That's going to allow a bit more room for SKEDDA to work with, and they take out the sentry gun as well. They don't even lose... Oh, okay, now they finally lose the Demoman. Am's actually showing a bit of gun outside of his sentry gun, and they're losing picks on both sides here, and finally popping out Uber. SKEDDA just found it way too hot and bothered and decided to just back out over on SKEDDA because they managed to hold on to their Uber charge here, Ben.
That was ridiculous from Menix. It walks in, there's a lot of forcing on really like controls where SKEDDA can stand over on that far side, force them into a tiny little, like a little corner there where the ammo pack is, and it allows the force to go in. But in the meantime, after forcing the medic over there, Menix decides to run it with the SMG and pretty much gets the kill onto Davey. I think the credit goes the other way around. and one of the teammates picks it up. Menix even runs out and lives. So Ubercharge advances. They've got rid of their sniper as well, who has run back to spawn to go into scout. As Ubercharge comes in from this right-hand side, gun dealt with right spawn, should have dealt with 2, as the aggression can now turn over towards the left-hand side. Can they lock everyone out? The heavy in from AMS, but everyone seems to be falling over on the blue side. It's not looking too great. Nice little shots in the air from Geordie as well, as the point cap comes through 1-0 to SKEDDA.
Yeah, there was no resistance on the left-hand side. Obviously, the Uber was coming in from that point. They decided to put the sentry gun on the right, and usually that makes it so right is so much more easier to kind of deal with or follow up on. But Warp just walks in. He just walks in because all of them are looking at the panic and the disarray of that Uber coming in, and Warp just gets a free demo man kill straight off the bat. And from that point, they just kind of lost their footing and their foresight about how they're defending against that Uber advantage.
Well, mid-fight number 2, and honestly, last time I was pretty impressed by the control
Davey.
of these. Oh, Davey! Oh, a bit of a scary moment there in that 1v1 against Lucas.
Oh.
Last time the soldiers did so well over on the blue side again. Gonna try and jump around, try and take some space. As Warped is actually the first casualty, so 1 frag up for the blue team, as now they can try and heal up, try and sit tight, as Geordie flies in with a massive rocket on Seeger, who surfs all the way out, all the way around, all the way onto the pack, but so many of the players die, they're going to have to run all the way back out.
Man, they're still trying to chase him here over on the second point over on SKEDDA, but they don't find him. They've already entered the bunker of safety, but I don't know what they were hanging about with on Danish Tyrant regime. I think obviously Davey got a lot of pressure early on, and then these 2 soldiers kind of just entered the mix, but they stayed in that square, and it just allowed Lucas to kind of, didn't quite rain the damage in, but more like just wrangled them, made them scared to stand in the same square space that all 4 of them were occupying.
Yeah, absolutely, and especially when they're caught in the choke like that, it can get really ugly really fast. Honestly, a miracle at sea gets out of that alive with a really nice surf over the top of the fence, landing straight onto the pack in front of Cafe. But now we've been here before. We've not been here without the sniper in play, as Geordie, Menix both trying to take some space in from this far left-hand side. They might be catching up Peter DC as well, who does actually win out the fight, trades out 1-1, but Smile, who's taken down, Warped in as well. It's absolute carnage on this last point, 2 picks apiece, and will Seeger be able to hold on to this Uber? Currently a bit of a mess at the moment. Nicky's going to potentially fall also, 2 players left up, and the Uber charge finally forced out. This is looking so good for SKEDDA. They don't even have to force it, there's no damage.
On point still. And Lucas is setting up for it, preps it, and bets it. Will get a second round on the board for SKEDDA. They just played it very calm, cool, and collected towards the end there. I really liked what Lucas did, rotating round, whilst everyone was distracted with the core of SKEDDA. They always just get decimated by whoever comes flanking in, whether it's Warped or whether it's Lucas.
Yeah, great coordination on that push, and that's how quickly it goes. It wasn't, remember, that wasn't even Uber's situation. Like, the Ubers both lived off of that mid-fight, but the pressure is just so good from SKEDDA. It's so well coordinated, so fast, and we'll see again mid-fight number 3. See if they can carry on.
Oh my god, Davey brought down low again, and this always means that the soldiers are going to come raring for his ass, and hopefully his ass is getting a lot of heals, a lot of medical attention throughout all of this. And Nicky went down in the only aggressive player on the side of Danish Tyrant regime. Warped is digging deeper, and he wants to get the kill, gets the finally follow up onto his damage in the shape of Davey going down. Peter, I think he's got no more ammo in the clip. He has to back out, and yeah, they've claimed out the middle point. They've already claimed second point on SKEDDA. It looks pretty comfortable on this map so far. 20 minutes left.
Yeah, absolutely, and there's still spawners left to come up. There is potential for early pressure. There's no sticks on the point because Davey only just spawning and no gun built up either, as both those scouts fell down, so the pressure should be relatively free for these first few minutes. Nice headshot there from Smile just to show some insistence that they will not be getting in exactly for free, and that might just be all they need, that quick 150 damage. AMS can actually run in all the way behind, try and go for some damage too, but maybe that might be one step too far because there's no gun set up, and we've seen how good the pressure is when there is a gun. This could be dicey.
Yeah, Davey doing a very nice little trap on the right hand side there. They've been abusing this right way too much for his liking, and they actually decides to rotate round, get a cheeky trap to maybe pick off the first person raring, and that was needed with AMS going down there. All right, Geordie, he's rocking the spy class. Is he actually cloaking and daggering though? He is. We're leaving the base. We're not just checking classes. So let's see what kind of chicanery Geordie can come up with. Geordie's been impressing so far on his rocket launcher, but can he impress on a dagger?
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's quite a claustrophobic last point, so there's not many places where you can decloak safely, but again, if you just got enough distraction, if a bomb comes in from warps, or there's perhaps some pressure from this this like cargo side where they've been enjoying getting in from before, maybe there is going to be a chance to potentially get that all-important kill over onto Seeger, or even saps on the gun, or kills into Davey. There's a whole menu of things you can go for, and it all starts with a kill onto the gun that's going to give Jordy enough space to get in behind, sneaking around into position, decloak, just wait for this perfect moment.
Yeah, it's going to be hard though, because now they've been pushed into a more claustrophobic position because of the pressure they've been putting out. He's toying with the idea of trying to get closer, but there's just so many moving bodies, so many moving eyeballs as well. Don't know how he's going to get onto Paul Seeger. I mean, on the bright side though, you can call a lot for your team, and it seems like a team that could really take advantage of these positions, these call-outs, because they do very well on SKEDDA to pressure them out here, Ben.
The thing is, though, that AMS is suspicious. AMS is currently on the off-class checker, and
Finally.
I'm sure will be aware of the fact that there is a sneaky gamer in play. So yeah, AMS out on the pyro is
everyone's checking
aware.
their backs now. You can see the AMS.
Oh dear, it's the worst feeling when you're on Spy and you see this happen. You see the pyro walk out of spawn, the medics constantly sat there spinning around, the engineers just shooting random corners. You know, your days are done. The best is probably going to get here is a sap onto the gun unless something absolutely crazy happens.
Maybe I'm losing my mind here, but I swear I just saw Av just shoot his own teammate there, like revealing his team. It's like, he's over there, guy. You can find him if you try.
Oh, Davey! Davey, come on!
Yeah, and they're going to get the back. I say they're going to get the backstab onto Peter. He decides to shoot him in the back and uncloaks again. In the chaos, he's trying to go for another kill. Doesn't quite find it. Smile will find him out, but they're entering the fight just regular. Know how that AMS is kind of disconnected away from the rest of his combo and team to really deal with things. So he's going to stick onto the point. But there's all these players just kind of toying around with them. They're ubered, but they're not quite invincible as they finally get the cap on the last point here.
There was 4 players there.
Yeah, there was just too little they could do over on Danish Tyrant regime. What's Pyro to do when they're just caught in that middle fledgling area of a Pyro and you have scouts just kind of dipping and diving and just avoiding your flames? You're seeing the disadvantages of Pyro here.
Yeah, absolutely, but again, someone just has to be getting on that point. You've still got 4 players alive. That's 4 bodies that can be standing on that point before the point flips over, and there was only a few players left up on the red. The Ubers were fading too. I think that was eminently holdable there, at least for a few more seconds from DTR, but they're going to concede it, and they're going to get... Oh, what on earth is that?
Get back to your half of the map, Nikki. I mean, that was a very fortunate air shot and actually knocking him back to safety, and this is probably one of the better mids they've had positionally. Peter will go down though, has way too little health to kind of stay up on that bell tower. And Geordie's going to meet them from the front. Actually delays enough time for SKEDDA to make the jump round. Lucas not quite finding the picks, however, will go down to AMS, and these scouts are showing their scout prowess, seeing if they can create these skirmishes out of nothing. And AMS is in a comfortable position now. He's got a medic on his back, and he's ready to just take the 1v1. His scout MGE can't quite get the kill onto Menix, however. Nobody's quite dying quick enough. They throw Peter in out from the respawn. Mac has to use Zuba in all of the collapse from Danish Tyrant regime. We're kind of splitting hairs here though, as Peter decides to bounce into the cafe to get a health back, ends up getting chased out, and they actually reconnect everyone back to the safety of second point. This could have gone a lot better or worse for both of these teams, Ben.
Yeah, but all importantly, DTR didn't use their Uber that whole time. They were just sat there fighting on the point, pressured as much, and as soon as the Uber charge pops out from back, they're all the way back in front of their run valley, all the way in the safety. And now with 4 players up pushing into the second point.
Oh,
they
no,
dropped! What?
The drop!
Never mind.
Menix, he just W's passes onto the lad and he drops all of his spaghetti. Oh, poor Seeger.
Yeah, like, throw everything I just said away. It was completely wrong, awful, great position for SKEDDA there, actually.
Well, Geordie has found some newfound motivation, gets the jump in, gets the kill onto Davey, and manages to get back to his medic's arms as well. It's winners winning more here in this winner's map pick.
How on earth is Menix getting a drop there? That is absolutely obscene that that's able to happen.
He had a scout with him as well. It wasn't even like
exactly. It was a 1v2. There's like
they see him. He was. He didn't surprise him. He didn't come out of nowhere. He just slowly walked up, tapped his way, and tapped the lad.
Yeah, that absolute madness as now they're going to pay the price. Sega only at 50% Uber charge. There's a sniper in forward spawn being thoroughly sticky bombed off by Lucas. Is Nicky going to drive off and try and get this force out onto Mac? One nice rocket lands, but nothing further. Still toying with the idea of peeking. Here's the depth perhaps and might be going for something, but Menix is so safe behind the glass wall. Will not be getting caught, and the cap will not be denied as the Uber charge now going on to the last point, and everyone flips their attention to the final area of this map.
There's
so
no
much
defense.
cap time. There's nothing.
There's nothing. Everyone was just so kind of worried about the initial Uber coming in. Everybody was in respawn. Nobody was like getting any sort of off class, any sort of resistance. That kind of thinking small picture here. If I don't die, it's good. It's all going to be okay. But they forget that they need their objectives more important than their lives.
Yet somebody has to be getting on the point again, and like once the stickies are gone as well, they've got AMS late to the party from the respawn from the sniper as well, and everyone's just so slow to get into position. And yeah, 4-0 up now for SKEDDA. They are absolutely cruising, and again landing early damage onto Davey on these mid fights. Davey's not having a particularly nice time up in this fight against Lucas. And Jordy comes in with massive damage into the death corner over onto Sega, almost gets the kill. Sega is going to have to run all the way back out into the cafe, slow things down slightly to get this pack, but if they're able to get the pack, able to get healthy, they are just a clean player up here over on the blue side.
Yeah, I mean, we've kind of switched sides, like, you know, territorially, and this has caused a bit of confusion between the scouts and whatnot. I mean, can you really call it flanking when you just come back to the mid from the other side of things? It's more like just rejoining. And yeah, still rotating around. Nobody wants to kind of give up this sort of weakness control. Jordy coming from an unusual angle, his own side now, but we've switched sides again. It's all very confusing. Mac is going to rejoin, or more like exit. We've just rotated about a full clock.
At this point? I am just fully confused at this point. But what I'm not confused about is that midpoint has at least temporarily gone over into the blue colours. So DTR have got themselves technically a mid-win, but for how much longer? Because the pressure is in, and the rockets are out onto Smile, who is absolutely deleted on the point, and that's it. Everyone has to back out. There's player advantage up for SKEDDA as they get the real mid-win.
I always consider those sorts of mids where you rotate around. The risk is that you can never really go back or exit, but these two teams managed to actually rotate a full clock around the entire clock tower to manage to get back. And Sega being pressured, punished, can't quite get the kill. And I mean, the cojones on the player manages to not use the Uber charge at what 10 HP?
Yeah, that was bordering on single figures there. Yeah, around 10 HP, and just a little bit closer on that splash of that final rocket would have done the damage from Warp. But again, like, attacking in one player in a situation like that when there's already spawners coming up on the enemy side, like, it's completely risk-free. You may as well do it. As someone who's as good of a roamer as Warp, he's gonna have a good stab at it, but the movement was just about there that time. And now we're thinking it's actually going to be AMS the one to like pick up the rifle now and decide, you know what, we're going to try and make something work, even despite the fact they're on the undefensive side of the map. They've got less territory, but they think, you know, we're 4-0 down, we have to change something, and maybe bring out a sniper is the way to do it.
Yeah, Menix, very nice on checking the classes. Usually it's a foregone sort of thought for these players to kind of clash check around the sort of second to mid connectors, but he does check it. Notice AMS is on that surprise sniper, rocks out a counter sniper. But AMS can be difficult to find, I think, in these sort of situations, but they're taking their best shot with going with Valley. They're going very, very, very sheepishly. Finally, Lucas manages to kind of call out where that sniper is going to be coming from, and Menix already positioned to do something.
Yeah, this is where it gets weird now, because the snipers, they've seen each other. You know, think who's going to be the one to initiate contact? And actually, never mind, it's been Warp to initiate contact with a big bomb over the top, but not going to have time to even fire that second rocket. Trading that one for PTBC does fall to the rifle of Menix, who is now able to perhaps take a bit more space over towards Valley and go for this long sightline across. There's pipes everywhere. Never mind, wins the SPS against AMS.
Yeah, that's going to open up a lot of avenue space for SKEDDA to work involved. Oh, they have also got the bonus kill onto Sega if they got to that low position in time. Menix, though, rotating round. And doesn't actually quite go for the greedy play I would have gone for, and Nicky would have been there to punish him, but they actually Uno card flip it around, get the kill onto Nicky, and this opens up even more space for Menix to do something, but can't quite find the dot onto the players he wants. They're just being way too awkward. and they actually do pressure the Uber again out of Danish Tyrant regime, and it's Uber's a piece for both. This time with a sniper in the mix, there's no real sort of backup to follow up on this Uber. The one less player involved in this fight because they've got the Medic sniper.
Yeah, and as well, super crucial is that Lucas went in so deep and was just completely cut off from the rest of the team at an early stage in that push. And yes, he's taken out 1-for-1, but when you can get a player like Lucas out of the field, it's absolutely huge. And especially a Devilman on the push like that, it really makes it so hard to push. You can't get a sticks on point, you can't get a denial. But it's going to be a second point recaptured and a reasonable Uber advantage. What we're looking at, 25-30%. It's at this point 4-0 down, 8 minutes left. You may as well kind of go for it, right? You're not having too many chances this game. I think have we had an Uber ad push so far for DTR this entire game? I'm not sure we have. And
no, it's the only one opportunity we've had. It's been dropped, sadly. But
yeah. Yeah, maybe they have a go for it now. It's actually, to be fair, Mac's been building better, so it's not that much hard. But they're grouping in Valley. I think they still think it's going to be hard, and it'll be a rude surprise at the other end if Mac has.
Oh, well, that's kind of dampened things a little bit for the poor squad. But Jordy and Warp have gone down when they were trying their little hiding spots. Oh my god, Menix has been eating our Wheaties this morning, and it seems like we're feeling the heads at the moment. Let's see if we can continue. Menix can't quite find the kill onto the... oh, actually pushed back Peter. That's kind of nice. But again... oh, he actually gets a close range shot onto Peter as well, trying to follow up with the skill stick. Doesn't quite work out. From this sniper counter alone, it has alleviated SKEDDA's problems.
Well, there is one more problem which occurred in the midst of that. And that was I think a stray pipe from Davey dropped Mac in the middle of all of these. I was with you. I was watching the sniper camo. I was like, yeah, Medic's doing great. Up at 6k, absolutely farming. And then seeing the kill feed, oh, there was a pipe, and Mac was caught out. So now the pressure can come back in, and again, it's a real advantage this time. It's a much bigger one than we saw previously, as the blue players all flood across this point, get themselves into position. Geordie perhaps going to be denied this forward spawn as well. Menic's still up on the sniper. This is license to push in, license to go, license to try and get in further than lower lobby.
Oh, the trap!
The Uber. Oh, the
killer to smile. And Warps, he's going in. He's gone unnoticed. Gets the pick onto Davey, even jumping away, being annoying. But this is enough for Lucas to come back in. If that pipe's hit, I would have gone absolutely berserk. But they actually pop off the Uber in the second point, and they're trying to keep chasing. They get the chase onto Menix. They're still going deeper. Mac in no man's land will go back to the dead man's land, and they will kill Nikki to kind of lick their wounds a bit. But this is a fantastic push going out from DTR.
A fantastic push with, I don't know, I thought it was, honestly, I saw Pocket Scout and Demo go down at the start of that untraded.
Oh, I'm discounting that part. I'm talking about like into last.
From that point, I'm thinking it's over, it's done. And then after that, yeah, exactly, it was phenomenal. It was great. The pressuring was perfect. They catch the important kill on the medic. Everything's going right. They've only got one player behind capping in the meantime, so second point does still get captured up. And so many frags go their way. They actually have a workable advantage again, and what a complete conversion it was. But actually losing PTC might spell a bit of doom and gloom for this push into the last point, because having one less soldier might be a bit of a difference.
I don't know what the hopes and prayers of Peter was to do there. They have Uber advantage. They know this fact, but peeking around when you already have men, it's kind of popping off. It was going to be playing sniper. Anyway, we're pushing it in without him, and first we take the sentry gun. Menix is already rocking this heavy weapons guy from a long distance as well. This is going to be a hard push for DTR, as they haven't really accomplished anything with the Uber charge.
What's even worse as well is this is a hard push if Mac doesn't have Mac does have to force eventually. Yeah. That's something, but like in that entire hole, Mac just didn't need to use. There was no real threat to make him use. Am's going to try and run to point to try and meet some kind of threat on the back cap. Not going to be enough, as there's enough players there. And in the meantime, Davey is getting caught out by Alf and Mac, who is still running after Sega. They're feeling hungry. And the cafe is not quite satisfying their needs, so they're going to run even further. But they said, you know what, not going to overchase, not going to feed ourselves too far forward. They know it's going to be disad because of how much earlier Sega used their Uber charge.
Oh.
But they now have to be a bit careful coming into mid.
Yeah, that's two soldiers entering around choke, and they both get picked off in the hopes of picking off Mac. But I think they just...
What?
Oh my god, okay, well, that just kind of came out of nowhere, and now Smile has to kind of go aggressive, because he's the only man really alive for the squad. I mean, Davey is going to go down, Ams is basically out of the fight, and they actually come back to deal with Smile, and yeah, this has gone swimmingly for Mac and co. But the thing is, they were on the back foot. They had the disadvantage, but they were the ones that were throwing in bodies and all this. They could have just kept building the Uber. Ams has gone back in for one last huzzah. Mac still doesn't quite die. And yeah, Peter, he's come back, but he can't really do anything. He has to go back now. 100% Uber charge on SKEDDA. They basically, I think, have the kind of workings for a 3-second point. It depends if Menix gets picked off here. Yes, he does.
Yeah, it gets picked off, but still with the threat of the Uber charge and the damage that Lucas is outputting towards the lower lobby, it might just be enough anyway. Warped helping out in that front also. Davey getting caught, 3 players caught in lobby. It's Dissad. They're trying to just pressure for force. There's no damage at all over onto Mac. Lucas gets caught out eventually, but look how many players, how many health bars have gone low over on the blue side. They've just got a medic and a scout left. There's no hope. They can't get to the point in time, and it's going to be 5-0. On this first map.
I mean, okay. Well, it just felt weird. It was a very weird round. Not really the behaviors or the sort of gameplay that you're used to in seeing these sorts of situations that happen. I just feel like DTR were way too aggressive at the points where they could have been stronger if they just waited just a little bit, you know? Use the defense part of Team Fortress 2 to kind of make it easier for yourself, but they were always the one that had to get proactive with it for some reason, and they just let them do it over on SKEDDA and then just took advantage of that.
Yeah, it was a bit disjointed at times. Like even there, that last fight where we saw it was advantage for DTR, they're sat holding mid. I think it was a bit of a microcosm of the game because I think they were like a 1 player down, but they're still holding super close. Despite the fact that
yeah, they were throwing soldiers in. I don't know why.
They're throwing soldiers in. They're holding super close, and like there's must have been some miscommunication of players backed up. But Sega ends up like in front of the scout, in front of the demo, who are sat holding choke, and just gets piped and sticky by Lucas when he walks in, and like things like that. Against a team like SKEDDA, you're gonna get punished, and we saw them get punished time and time again on these pushes, on these advantage situations. Like I said before, they had that one like sort of salvage attempt at like their Uber had kind of gone badly. But then they made the push into last work anyway. Like, other than that, like, it wasn't really a proper successful push, other than times where, you know, SKEDDA had gone in and lost loads of players and just backed out completely.
I'm going to give a bit of credence to Danish Tyrant regime. Was they probably thought that their last was going so badly that they didn't even want to, like, attempt last defense. They were just like, we're just going to try and make the defense happen on second here and now. And this is why you just don't really do that here and now in this present time period. It's just really difficult as you're all caught in this little box room. It's so easy to just kind of just get jumped on from like 3 different angles as well, you know, all from height. Very annoying spot to kind of defend from. And yeah, they were just kind of milked from there. And obviously they could expend a free Uber over on Mac to just chase out any sort of little last minute stragglers. I mean, I've gone over to the logs, and I'm actually surprised to see the medic stat so low. What felt like quite a chaotic game, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one on on Sunshine. Yeah, like it was a lot of back and forth, but like I don't know, sort of the telling stats like the one at the top, right? Like I don't know, it felt like the DTR they had like when you're sort of up against it like that, you have a couple of chances to get in the game. And maybe this isn't like shown to on the log, but they did have a couple of opportunities where they could have really run back and really made a fist of it, but things just didn't go quite right. And that's both obviously from plays that SKEDDA made, but both obviously from some mishaps that we saw. And that just feels all the more punishing. And yeah, that sort of leads to how we get this this 5-0 scoreline. Of course, the scouts, of course, over on SKEDDA having an absolute field day, both mirroring each other, going 24-6 is great stuff. But like on the whole, I think it's sort of a story that logs can't tell.
There was absolutely no bite from DTR's mids at all, and obviously that's where the majority of these games are going to start and end, is whether or not you can figure out these mids. But there was just nothing. I don't think there was a time. Yeah, there was that one rotating mid that was kind of funny, but that was like more avoiding the bite. Everyone was just kind of rotating around, seeing if they can just find anybody that's fumbling rather than, coming out of the gates blazing. I just didn't feel it. I know, like, Nikki was probably posting the fantastic stats here. I could see, like, attempts, this man's trying. He's out there. He's giving it the college try. And yeah, I think that's just always been a problem of this Danish Tyrant regime, is when it's going great, it's mainly if AMS can get into an uber advantage situation. But to get into that, it's usually all down to your supporting cast, your supporting players, and they're just not there. If you can't get any gas involved, and he can't even get a position where to keep his medic with his gas as well, what is their win condition?
Yeah, it's a really worrying look. But there is still one more map left to play. We're going over to Koth Products, which is a different game mode, different ballpark entirely to the 5CP likes of things like Sunshine. And it's a map that I believe neither of these teams have played so far this season. They just decided, you know what, week 7, we're just going to roll out for something. You roll the dice and go for something that's maybe more in their comfort zone. I'm not too sure. Do you think this might help alleviate some of these problems that you mentioned?
100%. I already think I'm already in the court of Danish Tyrant regime of making them feel better, because these weak aspects of, like, getting to the Uber, you're going to get an Uber on Product. You're going to be able to, like, set yourself up, because at the end of the day, they're going to give you time. That's the objective. They're just going to melt time away rather than just kind of roll over your Steam roll in like 1 minute's time. You're going to get a guaranteed Ubers in these sorts of things. Break it down to its very bare bones if you wanted to as well, which is just like, throw everybody in, and either we get their Uber and we make the fight easier, or we get our own Uber and we can at least take an equal fight. And you get the initial advantage from losing as well. So, I have hope in my heart, Ben. But what about you? What does your heart say?
Yeah, my heart says that, but I'm also like, I'm sort of thinking about the bigger picture, because to my mathematical knowledge of what I've worked out beforehand, I think SKEDDA are in the clear now. They've won the first map. I think they're locked in for playoffs, and I think that now that could be both a blessing and a curse. Obviously, it means the pressure is off, so potentially there's no nerves at action. But also, it might, perhaps mean they're not quite as locked in as in the first map. And I think that could maybe, I'm not sure which way to put it on like that. But like you say, I agree with your point though about, like, you're saying this might play into DTR's favor more with it just being Koth and being like a scout focus map. You've got to play like AMS in your team, right? Like AMS is going to absolutely thrive on something like a product where it's really like, the game is often won and lost on what your pocket scouts are able to do. How good your Ubers are, how good your pushes are on the point, how good your pressure is in these like tense fights, like these sort of edging the cat back and forth around the middle of the map. And I think just looking at the strengths of this team, I think that's probably slightly going to lean their way. I'm not entirely sure I'd go as far as to say I think they're going to win, but I think they might make it a bit more competitive than we saw in Sunshine.
Oh, okay. It seems quite a rarity. Haven't heard about this in a while, but we're going to check who gets what side here, Ben. Like, if you really hell-bent and want a certain side in TF2, sometimes we have some caveats and some rules for that. So we're going to figure that out now. I think it's...
Are we getting a boxing match?
I think it might be a boxing match. I think the players, they enjoy fun. They like TF2.
A product is like the one map in the pool where I can kind of see it making like a tangible difference. Because now, obviously, there's people who are always out there saying, like, I know there's like the French team always likes to play blue, for example, and there's various other things. Oh, we always play red, whatever. But like, if you're using the stock rocket launcher, or even the stock pipes, for example, on a map like product, it is tangibly different being one side or the other. So I think of all the ones where people are going to say, "Oh, we're gonna push for outside," I think like genuinely your spam angles work differently and stuff. Like I think product is the one you're going to see the most. So it'll be interesting to see who's fighting for what, who prefers what side, who is going to perhaps win this boxing match if it happens. I think for the moment they are just trying to sort out the tech to get the map to work, because obviously the rocks on products. If anyone's played any games in this event, like one day you'll have had the rocks never spawn in. It happens to everyone at some point in their TF2 playing time. But I think they're just going to sort that out for now.
Yeah, they're giving it a couple of restarts of egos and all this. But yeah, you're right. It is not just about color theory. It is basically like which side you play from is what perspective, like the entire halves of the maps are playing. And in a game where sometimes if you're using certain weapons that only shoot from one side, it's kind of annoying, you know?
Yeah, especially like the for soldiers, especially like, if you're running the original, like I don't know, I feel like there's some of the spam angles, particularly around Cliff, it can feel like a bit more comfortable to like be jumping from like the right hand side when you're trying to like get across the point. I don't know. I'm not an original user. I'm not a stock rocket launch user myself, so I won't comment too hard. But like I know that
I can certainly
some people
verify.
feel very strongly about it.
Yeah, I can verify. It is very annoying to jump or push from a left-hand side object, let's just say. At least it always bothered me back in the day. But the original kind of Tails head, curves it off just a little bit, but it's still going to have some little tiny preferences. Whether or not it constitutes doing a heavy fist fight or something is one or the other. They might have figured it out in separate ways as well. They could have just maybe talked it out. We'll see.
Get in a video chat and do rock, paper, scissors. That's my call. As I think they should start doing. Maybe people hop in a Discord chat, video themselves, do rock, paper, scissors, and then winner gets to pick the side.
Well, it looks like we got our first nominated champion, possibly, or are we just... Oh, we're down. We actually have spectators in the thing as well. Unless Sega's joshing me. We're not doing an actual heavy fist fight. We're just hanging out here on mid.
No, I think we are. I'm getting word that the rocks are now sorted for everyone. Everyone can see the rocks again. That's all looking good. And they are going to do a heavy fist fight. Both teams want to play on red. And of course, only one of them can play red because one team has to be on blue. So we're going to find out shortly who is going to be getting the all-important coveted red colours in this game. And I think we've got Peter DC perhaps going to be the nominated heavy over for DTR. Be just to see who is going to be picking up the boxing gloves over on the red team.
Well, in the meantime, while they're all trying to get accustomed and fed, I do have a couple of more gripes and worries for DTR that I want to air to the world, and that is Lucas. Lucas was doing a impressionable job on that Sunshine mid, really pressuring out Davey and kind of spelling a lot of the beginning problems for these mids as well. And it has me worried here, Ben. Like, does that mean that Paul Lucas is just going to run over this team? It doesn't matter how good these AMS Ubers are if Lucas just has, free reign of the entire mid at the start of the game.
It's not even just the mids as well. I don't know. Lucas's damage is just so consistent. It's like, it's not. You can't even just say it's like one thing. Like it's just best pipe him or whatever. Like Lucas is just so consistent with everything. We see it so many times on the mids. It's obviously great getting in early, getting that spam damage off with those sticky bombs, trying to zone around the enemy team. But we see it even on pushes, bombing in with Uber, just so consistently upon landing, sticky straight down, pipe into the face of whoever's in front, and it's a free 200 to 300 damage depending on how many people are stood there. On a map like product is so useful.
I think what I noticed about this SKEDDA team that particularly enables Lucas is he's kind of trusted to go in as aggro as he wants. Like there's times where he is just like pile driving, jumping in, following up on someone else's damage, when really a lot of other demoers might be like, don't do that, my guy. You are too important. It's almost like the Yak school of Demo Man, but maybe a little bit more reined in. Whether or not that's like Lucas or whether or not that's Mac whispering into Lucas just a little tiny bit, but...
Yeah. Well, instant now, because the boxing match is ongoing at the two of them in the middle of this point. Peter DC proclaimed in the chat a moment ago that he'd been hard at work practicing, and the practice pays off because DTR will get to go on the red team as Peter DC wins the fight out against Geordie.
Watch it now. Watch it not matter at all.
It's 3-0 anyway, yeah.
All right. Well, I mean... balance me out here, Ben. I've obviously been a little bit negative over on Danish Tyrant regime, and I only really spot the one sort of player that's kind of like popping off at the moment. That's maybe AMS with these nice little kind of turnarounds and whatnot. But is there anybody else in this DTR team that you could probably see finessing out some plays here on this product map?
I thought Smile had some good moments on the previous map. I know that like when there was a bit of mixing up as one of the players were going down, Smile took in a couple of good attempts, a couple of good Uber trades himself, and also on the flank as well had some good plays too. I think maybe if they can stack up on a map like product, very very scout centric. I think if the two scouts over on DTR can get it rolling and get themselves into good form, it could be all they need. But like you say, they've got Lucas on the other side. They've got some of the other best players that Europe has to offer at the moment. It's still an uphill struggle, but I think, with two good scouts, you can get a long, long way on product.
All right. Okay, no, baited a little bit, but I think we're going to be starting relatively soon. So if you're just joining us, this is our Week 7 coverage of ETF2L 6v6 Autumn 2024. It's SKEDDA versus DTR. I'm not even going to say their full name, as escapes me. And we are
Very long.
I'm trying to elongate it a little bit as well, because I know that these teams are like starting, stopping, baiting me, not baiting me. But I think we're finally it now. We're pressing the start button. We're collecting ourselves. We're picking our characters. We're rolling out to mid.
Sniper.
We're already rocking a sniper on Menek. Ams is rocking a sniper as well. It's the sniper hour here on this product map. Ben.
Yeah, interesting choice. There's going to be 2 scouts over on SKEDDA, but 2 soldiers over on DTR. So maybe that spells some aggression, maybe that spells some early bombs coming in from either PCDC or Nikki. But at the moment, we should have our eyes on these snipers on the potential SPS. Both of them playing up on the high ground over on their respective cliffs. As Nikki, the first soldier to land in, gets a 1 good rocket over onto Alpha. That is all that bomb is going to attain. And now with the sniper v sniper actually won out by Ams, and maybe there is a chance of some re-pushing now. Both soldiers falling though in the red, and a really nice headshot onto Warped. Massive work from Ams on this first mid.
Yeah, both teams just playing very passive throughout all this. Nikki, I'm surprised the only one kind of jumping in there. They pop off Uber now in both of these teams. Jordy chasing hard for the Davey kill. Actually goes turns back around and will go back down. And is he still going to keep rocking that scout class? Who knows? As we have everybody back to the world of the living on SKEDDA, going to rejoin the fights. And still rocking the sniper class. Menex has not been dissuaded though. He's going to come back as sniper, even joining the combo on the floor as well. Both of these teams actually rocking a close on the floor play. Smile going to go down. That's the scout, the only scout for poor DTR going down there. That's going to be a lot lost for the Danish Tyrant regime.
Yeah, and especially they never actually captured the point in that whole time. They had such a good Uber. They caught Lucas out even behind the point. It was looking so great, but they got forced so far back trying to keep Davey alive in the Uber that the point cap never actually fully came through. They got a lot of cap time, but that was about it. So now the point first is going to flip over into the blue as the push attempts come back through. PCDC jumping all the way in behind Nikki there as well, trying to perhaps find this kill over onto Warped over on the grass, but there's scouts there to defend, and makes it all the more awkward for these players trying to get in as PCDC Davey both caught out. Nikki gonna bomb in, gets the force over on to Mac, but the scout Uber from Sega is in. All on Smile now. What can this Uber get?
Yep, they can't quite find the app kill. Manages to sneak around those. Actually, Smile getting a nice sort of 1v1 1-up against that land. He's still fighting. It allows Nikki to kind of come in and do a lot of damage. Peter follows up as well. And during all this, Ams is still kind of there, still breathing down their necks, and Menex and Ams seem to just have 2 different positional plays. I want to play sniper. Ams wants to stay on the floor, basically like a combo scout, but sniper, and Menex very much actually switching off to a scout.
Yeah, it's sort of understandable, especially when you don't have the point in your favour. It can be very hard to get into these angles, to get these peaks going across the point, but going to be roughly even on the Ubers and going to be roughly even on the point time too, as pressure now comes in from the SKEDDA as they try and get themselves into position to get onto this point. 2 for 2, but this is only going to work in the favour of the attacking team as Smile, David, they're both trying to block this point for as long as possible until they get this Uber charge on Sega, who is down to 20 HP for a moment. Oh, the rocket comes in from Jordy.
Yeah, Jordy was doing shenanigans behind while Davey was trying to deal with the combo in the forefront, and with no medic, this is going to be a very tough sort of attack for Danish Tyrant regime. They do, however, get the kill onto Max, so you could just close your eyes and pretend it's like a suicide wave. As now with Sega back to the world of living, already building up that Uber charge, we have the building blocks here for a repush.
Yeah, absolutely, but there is still 5 alive over for SKEDDA, so they can have some kind of hold. It's not going to be free ground taken instantly, and it's also another 30 or 40 seconds until the Uber charge comes up. Ams with a nice shot to get over onto Jordy earlier on here on the push in, as now how even more pressure we from Nikki too. Mac taken down weak, and that's the only snipers on the field. There's never really a safe place to stand. You're either stood behind cover getting spammed out by these soldiers, or you're showing your head, and Ams has been hitting quite a lot of heads so far.
Yeah, and usually the only safe areas from the sniper class are all occupied in the same area, and you know who loves areas that are occupied by the same sort of people? It's a couple of soldiers here. The two soldiers playing out dividends actually for DTR. They're actually jumping on these bunched up, you know, scared little weaklings behind the rocks, behind the doors.
Yeah, and it's so good. That's the value of having the two soldiers. I know often we see two scouts instead, but if you've got two soldiers, just spam in behind this rock as the drop comes in. Davey with the stickies. The damage syncs up perfectly, and oh my word, SKEDDA are really in a bit of trouble now. They're going to have to sack in, try and get through onto Seeger, who's taking a fair bit of damage up on top of the little ledge there. Actually managed to just get out onto the windowsill in behind the cliff, and that's the storm weathered for now. They can repush. Point did not even flip. Medic's caught out too. Massive disadvantage. There's maybe time for one more Uber over for SKEDDA before the end of this map, but they are really up against it here.
Yeah, that's expel a lot of time for DTR. And now pressure's on. They're actually in that sort of danger zone time period. They decide to get two soldiers in, one from the front, one kind of flanking from the back. And Seeger on his own. Ams is trying to do his best to maybe shoot him, but can't quite pull it off. An Ubered sniper is not enough to fix this, and Peter will finally come back to his combo and kill off that pesky scout, but they've lost their Uber for it. And the point.
Yeah, they lost even the point. 3 spawns got denied from SKEDDA, but the spawns just aren't here in time for DTR either to really punish it too well. That's a super important force, and the scout getting picked off there before the Uber comes out makes the Uber completely toothless with just the sniper there. Peter DC already an Uber charge used out now from SKEDDA. They want to fight, they want to try and get as many kills as they can. With this one, going to already find kills over onto Davey and perhaps onto Smile as well, who's just about taken out on the way back. Lucas actually falling to Nikki, and Menix is going to clean that one up, but that is all that they're going to get, losing Demo 2 for this push. Seeger's going to have an ad, and Seeger maybe is going to have time to use it.
Yeah, you're seeing the agility of these scouts kind of getting kicked in around. In these post-fight situations where everyone's just scattered all over the place, it's very easy for the scouts to just kind of traverse around and just get to these fights, get a part of these skirmishes and pick off all these players. And they're going to do another sort of Hail Mary push. No Uber charge actually ready for both of these teams, but Peter finds a lot more beneficial bombs starting off things, and in all of this times, Ams is always there. He's always just kind of ringing out a couple of damage, a little, maybe a kill here or there or two, and it just pushes them, tips them over the edge in these sort of even sort of fights. It also helps as well that these soldiers are actually finding their bombs over on DTR.
Yeah, some great plays from PTDC so far. We might be needing to see something like that again so far, because this Uber charge has been forced out on this point over by SKEDDA. Massive damage in the post back from Lucas too, as the Uber charge in the blue comes back in, but they don't flash on the point in time. DTR get their first round of the series on the board, and they take the lead at 1-0.
It was scrappy. It was annoying. They had to pop off the Uber there just to kind of get the fight going, but you can't cap and be Ubered at the same time, so they were relying on Geordie to maybe cap off the point. But it just was not happening because he was kind of too busy being knocked around in the fight.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was, again, like you say, I was pointing out before that it's all on the scouts potentially on products, but I've been really impressed, in particular with PTDC, getting these bombs in behind the rock, doing massive damage. But now it's the soldiers over from SKEDDA instead that are taking the early aggression, training out 1-for-1 over on the concrete side of the map. Davey getting absolutely launched all over the shop here at the point. Taken down in trade, 2-for-2 so far, but Demoman advantage for SKEDDA, but how much longer perhaps? Lucas, never mind. I should never doubt.
Yeah, Peter, he's going to come in now, and doesn't quite find the air shot onto Mac. It was a nice attempt, but doesn't quite find it. Ams not really putting out as much prowess and impact in these fights as he was originally, and I think they're finding their way a little bit. Even though they lose a couple of players at the start of that fight, they ended up losing Davey. He got neglected because they had to just kind of heal Peter back up and kind of get him recuperated from that flank aggression.
I really like what SKEDDA did that mid is they checked that there was a sniper, they saw that Ams was still a sniper, and thought, you know, we're going to go for 2 scouts, we're going to double bomb instantly, and we're just going to take the fight to them. We're going to be as aggressive as possible, and we're going to really get in that sniper's face, and then the sniper's presence isn't felt as much, unless Ams is going to hit something absolutely nonsense shots, but did not happen, as now the Uber charge trade comes across both these teams, have built their Ubers up in time, but 2 players falling before the Ubers even popped over for DTR. Spells doom and gloom for these pushes. Now Lucas even bombing in deep as well, Menix too, everyone flying in, trying to get onto SKEDDA, and its objective succeeded for SKEDDA, looking so great for them in round 2.
Yeah, massive plays coming out from Lucas. They're kind of committing himself into the fight, but everyone is fighting in the same area over on DTR, and it makes it very easy picking for these scouts, these soldiers, to kind of just play off that sort of distraction and damage. I'm also liking the fact that they're taking these proactive Ubers over on SKEDDA whilst the sniper's happening all this. In these sort of scout sort of trades of Ubers, it's very difficult for the snipers to have impact.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the issue. You have to keep the tempo up. You can't get locked into these long spam battles because that's where the sniper shines. And this again the aggression comes through. They've not even got the Uber charge to its advantage for SKEDDA, but they're still bombing in players. They're still bombing in soldiers. Menix in behind, warped in 2. They're really hungry for these frags. Davey getting caught on the flank by the push in from Menix and Geordie. And again, this relentless aggression from SKEDDA. This is a real change of tempo from this first round, and I am loving it.
Yeah, and they're punishing the Euro extensions as well. I mean, to give credit to DTR, like, I don't know what they're supposed to do. They may be just ever missing timings on backing each other up compared to SKEDDA. SKEDDA are instantly on top of playing off each other's damage, whilst DTR kind of lagging behind. It seems like it takes a good solid second to get, say, someone on the flank to rejoin anybody up with the combo.
Yeah, of course. This is the punishment they get. 30 seconds on the clock to 3 whole minutes. Ams finally sort back over to the scout. They've got a pyro up on Smile to try and burst out of this forward hold.
Uh-oh, Mac took that pyro, got reflect. He took 2 and he is end up going down. You don't see that every day as they just feed the pyro and Mac ends up feeding. Fortunately, they do have Menix and Geordie kind of still alive in the back lines, and I mean, can you call this mission accomplished? They wipe everyone.
It doesn't matter at all. They're not getting to the point in time, surely. There is going to be an attempt from Davey Smile and SKEDDA, but they're not getting there. Davey going to fly in, bomb straight down. Nice shots onto Lucas. The air shot going to come through. No, not quite. The re-aggression is in now. Only 2 players left on this point, getting taken down, getting charged away from this point. And great re-aggression. Great full whole 3-minute round coming in. No point presence at all for DTR, but I'm still saying, if I am Mark, I am fuming. Why is the soldier shooting the pyro?
Yeah, it's funny, but I'm sure it's a nice sort of camaraderie, jokey moment had in this round. And yeah, they feel like things have clicked in this second round here for SKEDDA. They're back on the board. It's like a 0-0 situation for both of these teams, but now gotta feel a bit nervous if you're over on AMS. Is the sniper having the impact it once did in the first round?
Yeah, well, we saw it have a bit of trouble last time as Geordie already bombing in so aggressive, gets one nice rocket there over onto SKEDDA. The frag is traded back. SKEDDA taken down, Geordie and Warped in coordination there, landing one at a time onto that red medic. Players advantage for the red side though, so it's not all great. Peter DC in.
Yeah, actually whiffs his bomb there, so it doesn't quite get on top of Mac at all, and App keeping well to stay alive during that little fighting duel, and nobody actually dying in that kind of random skirmish. AMS got a new spot, hanging about, and this time they're faring a bit better against the aggression.
AMS fell off the ledge, unfortunately. Almost caught the shot there over onto Lucas, but didn't quite get the angle perfectly. He's going to reposition up top and try and perhaps catch all these players over towards the point, but in the meantime, PCC getting caught out on the flank in a 1-for-1 trade. Geordie is cleaned up by Smile on the way back out, but point flips into the blue, and SKEDDA's still another 30% away from Ubercharge, so it's going to slow things down for a little bit more. They can wait for their spawners to get back in, but they're pushing in with the sniper. It's even Ubers, and like, how long do you wait on a cost map for AMS to make you an opening? Because you can't wait forever. You've got to push at some point.
He actually took the pipe as well. Yeah, that's always the kind of awkwardness of these sort of snipings, especially when you're down a soldier as well. You haven't got anything to fight with from the other side. They do throw warped in this background of these Ubers being traded out, but he actually gets picked off nice and early. And they cap off the second point as well. That's very well done to say they've only got one scout. So now it's back in the power play position for DTR, and AMS is going to feel a lot more comfortable sniping in this sort of play.
Yeah, especially when you've got the point, you can get these massive, massive sight lines over towards the enemy house, towards enemy China, even kind of behind the rock from the further position too. Geordie Warp going to bomb in, try and get onto the sniper. Maybe it was the medic either. See, I thought would be a bit of trouble there, but he's not going to get anything. It's a bit of a 3-man sack attempt, might be a 4-man. Yeah, we've got a 5-man actually, as everyone except Mac is going into the grave. So the risk there, it's a 5-man sack with roughly even Ubers, so they're conceding a forward hold off this.
I don't think that's even a sack. I think they were just genuinely just trying to do some pressure and pick off play. But very nice. Oh my god, the charge! Oh my god, Lucas coming out of nowhere, and Davey has been kind of spooked. He has to now, and AMS does get a kill on the Geordie when they actually get everybody out of the gates. And I mean, it's funny, but now you're rocking with a demo man with. Oh wait, no, he switched off.
No, he ran back to spawn. He ran back to spawn. That is amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Going in like that for the kill over onto Davey, the demo man. As now Ubercharge trade comes out over this low ground. And be slightly more flashing over for the blue team, but the juggles over towards Seeger, who is launched skyward and taken down by the scattergun of AF on the way back out. So now potentially a sack wave attempt for the red side as they can try and get onto Mac. Davey in, players in as well. Peter DC to do the damage. Massive direct rocket there over onto Mac. The only player to fall in the blues. That's the one thing you're going for if you're SKEDDA. Like, AMS is hitting some unreasonable shots.
Yeah, his last dying bullet and gets the kill cheekily onto the scout. They will cap off this point over on SKEDDA, but overall it was it went quite well. There only was the final person being thrown in, that was Peter, onto Mac to actually get him out to the graveyard. And yeah, now he's back to the world of the living. AMS is still rocking that sniper. He gets the pick onto Geordie. Warp's the push is now a little kind of neutered as the only soldier on his team. He's going to get killed off as well. Menix is going for a scout versus poor soldier matchup on the flank. He's not going to get backed up though. I've noticed this trend here. They really don't care about their flank and anybody fighting it unless, like, I don't know, these very single situations.
Oh, I thought Menix was going to go for something crazy there. I saw Menix running all the way behind the spawn. I thought we're not going to get a repeat of Sunshine now, where Menix just runs in and two-shots a medic in the midst of the entire team. But it seems like that's not going to be the case this time, at least, as the Ubercharge trade. Scout and Scout comes through. Lucas getting caught out though in the middle of the Uber. They're staying in as much as they can, and they're being punished.
Yeah, and Peter just joins in on the collapse as well. That was very optimistic from SKEDDA to say you lost your demo man early. He's like your canary in the mines. If you see him dying, why are you sticking in the tunnel, boy?
Especially with like only one frag traded out for it too, was basically everyone over on the SKEDDA side taken down in that one. They are going to get out of the forward hold with no Ubercharge up on the red side, and there's still a sniper in play, still waiting for a spawn or two. They're not feeling too confident about going too far forward, but the timers have evened out, and the Uberchargers are not too far off even either, because Mac had such a fast spawn, but maybe for not much longer by that, has taken so low, had to run all the way back, warped all the way around in spawn. Where is Carnage mode? Where is everyone? Everyone's flanking everyone. I'm so confused.
The longest flank of all time blows immediately his load onto Nicky rather than trying to get on top of Seeger, however, and ends up getting caught out and found out. AMS though gonna get picked up by a random app on the China area, and to say that things were going so badly for poor SKEDDA, they managed to cap off the point for a few seconds. They pop off Ubercharge now, but Mac already taking the scout taxi out and gets a slight wave from Nicky, doesn't quite complete the kill. Menix still wants to go back into the fight even though they have an Ubercharge ready, and yeah, they are positioning and trying to get Mac in to get into a threatening place with this Ubercharge. Throwing some initial resistance. Peter's going to get picked off, however, over on the pressure part of flank, and they're going for that sort of sticky trap again that's picked off a couple of times on these really flank-hungry game of SKEDDA. Still not using the Uber charge. I mean, why should they? They have the point. They just weaseled it in all of my monologuing.
Yeah, absolutely. There's 4 seconds left. Someone has to stand in it. That's going to be Smile's unfortunate job. Going to have to stand in it for a couple of seconds before the Uber-charge comes in. And now SKEDDA, all they have to do is stop players from touching the point. And it's so easy when your players are shiny and they are not taking any damage. 2-1. But honestly, not in the most convincing of fashions. I thought that could have been DTR's round. It was just that last Uber charge they used in with advantage, and they just could not get across the point quickly enough. There was a bit of discoordination, I think, when they popped it off. Davey wasn't able to bomb in. Nicky's a sole soldier bombing into an entire team. Not the plan at all. And yeah, SKEDDA, they get a round up, 1 round away from the win here on Product.
I think they've noticed the power play here is just basically pick off a soldier. They immediately, every single time, mids, reconnecting pushers, just anything, they just immediately jump on top of Peter, who's always going to be there in that valley area, and then they take the fight from there, because it really puts pressure onto AMS to kind of output damage and impact on things if they... Because otherwise it sits at a 5v6 for a little minute if he just doesn't really do anything.
Yeah, well, AMS has hit 2 good shots already this round and is potentially looking at for some more as point is taken by DTR. They can get themselves set up, they can get the Uber charge in play because SKEDDA is at 95% and actually players dropping all over the place. This is maybe getting a little bit dicey. Are they going to decide to use it? Are they going to try and block this?
I don't know what, I mean, I guess this is plan C. This is not the plan that you want to use, but the plan they feel like you have to use. But look at everyone floating around them. They are waiting with a coffin by their side, ready to slap them in there, and yeah, they sent to the graveyard. Let's see, Nicky rejoining. I don't know what this bottom is supposed to be. It seems like everyone's kind of going a little hero mode on DTR.
Yeah, well, it gets a demo man, so I'd count that mission success from Nicky a 3-second spawner pretty much after the kills come through. It is so fast. Lucas is going to be out of this fight for quite a while. There's no overcharge up yet for Mac, and there won't be for about another 20 seconds, so there is time to pressure this point and perhaps try and tempt some players forward, maybe tempt some frags over for their side. And they're getting the first one of those already. A nice little shot there from AMS over onto Menex, as now the pressure can keep coming in. Af taken weak, taken down by Davey, and this is how we can spiral. No demo man can spell doom for your team. Lucas might be getting caught out once more by Smile.
Yeah. Well done by Smile. It's a really tall order for Smile. Not only does he have to follow up and chase these frags that get lit to high heaven, but he also has to reconnect and check on SKEDDA every now and then. Are you okay? Are you fine? You're not dead? Okay, great. I'm going to go back out there. See ya.
It makes it so much harder, and what's even better than now for DTR is that they're not even at disset anymore. They forced everyone back so far that SKEDDA's been able to build up this Uber charge, and they can just they can sit here. They don't have to back up, they don't have to fear. They can chill, they can get ready to take a trade onto this point if they think things are going out of control, and that might just be about now because the Uber charge has been used now. Peter DC and Nicky, both soldiers going down. Big moment from Warped, going to catch the sniper, and again, 3 players left, just Davey, Smile, and the medic of SKEDDA going to try and get into this. They get onto Mac, which is the value pick, but they're losing everyone else. Going to have to run back to spawn. Time run the clock. Still going to be looking okay for SKEDDA, but they've got to make this advantage work. It's only 20%, and they've committed a lot of players there for a medic kill.
Yeah, it's very well done, honestly, played out by SKEDDA. Just kind of, it takes a lot of cojones to kind of take the Uber charge and just like take side objectives instead of just going for the jugular Uber. SKEDDA going to get pressured, not quite killed, however, and when the dust settles, they actually find all these kind of remaining players disconnected from the combo, and yeah, well done on them. Mac does go down again, so that is going to cause a lot of things and headaches for the war, but they won this battle.
Yeah, it was sort of an impromptu sack where their players getting caught on the pressure in, and I think a couple of players over the top was like, you know what, things are spiraling out of control. We've got such fast respawners because they don't have the point. They can just bomb in, try and commit their lives, and they do get the big reward, which is the kill over onto Mac. And again, we see Nicky jumping all the way in behind PCDC, trying to do the same and get involved in the action, but is taken down on the point. Big aggression coming in though, the Uber charge forced out finally.
Lucas managed to force out the Uber and gets out as well, but the rest of his team all try and collapse in when they're not aware. But fortunately, Lucas is doing more than not. Oh my god, what a wonderful set of pipes! And actually, Ams gets the kind of put down shot onto him. Am is going to kill off poor Ams. Now it's just a trading card game. Everyone is just trading places.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for Lucas. If that last shot lands and Amos doesn't hit the crazy headshot, then that would have been a crazy, crazy highlight there. The double sticky, the force as well to begin it all was so good. And this is what happens. You've got a demo the caliber of Lucas players, and this can just happen. The Uber charge comes across the point now, and they're caught in. Plenty of these players surely going to fall. Af already in onto Davey. Ams trying to sneak around onto the little lip there of Cliff. Taken down finally. Matt could be in trouble though to beat DC. Does get out just about. But there's 35 seconds left. We've seen the pushes from DTR so far. They've been inconsistent, but they've got 1 minute on their clock. They've got an advantage to work with. Man. They've got to work.
It's 30 seconds left and Ams is still rocking sniper at this point. Like, I was like, I'm sure I can still make impact in these last 20 seconds of the game. Immediately taking out the demo man, that is. But they do lose their entire combo. Bad trade here, worst trade even. And DTR are going to come attacking from the back as Paul Warped and Menex have to deal with the kind of unfathomable job of trying to deal with this strong combo of DTR. They're just chilling on point.
The problem is though now that this Uber charge from oh, never mind. Okay, never mind. Forget what I was saying.
Like a dog.
Forget what I'm saying. I was going to say, look, Seeger's still a long way away from Uber. The pressure can still come in. With one less scout, that is going to be so much harder to make work.
Jordy's on Ams. And Ams is out of the fight. Warped is taking advantage of all those eyeballs that have been turned around to deal and avenge against Ams. And Mac, I turn to him. He's still alive, and with heals being pumped into his squad, this should be more than enough for this round.
That's the thing. When you're in those situations, you've got a minute on the clock to overtime. You can't get forced back from the point. And it's really intelligent play there from SKEDDA. They send the soldiers so deep. They're like, okay, Jordy does get the kill on a sniper, and then also hits a really nice direct over onto Seeger. But like, that's beside the point. Like, that doesn't really matter. What matters is that eyeballs are getting dragged back behind the house, and it's overtime. Players have got to be there on the point, fighting, blocking, and making sure that that point doesn't flip back over to SKEDDA. And eventually it happens, so great coordination and great push to come through. But I don't know, after like that 3-minute round, like that round number 2 where SKEDDA got the one, I was like, oh, okay, they're going to run away with this. But DTR, credit to them, they've fought, and they've fought right until the dying end, but it doesn't always go their way.
Yeah, it just felt like really nice reads from SKEDDA, kind of sailed the way from this. It felt very surgical, to be honest. They just kind of diagnosed it as like, okay, Ams is kind of rocking us on this sniper. We can't do the sniper versus sniper. What makes them weaker? And they're not even playing these double scout things as well. There's other things to diagnose and kind of surgically cut out here. And they do it quite convincingly by just focusing on flank, focusing on poor Peter, and then kind of causing the fights to spiral from there, and then just always have this motto of like, we are always taking every Uber fight, we're starting these Uber fights, just anything that instigates a team fight that makes and weakens and dampens Ams on this sniper. And Ams was not dissuaded, he was just still rocking it. I think if there was just a couple of, you know, prior points where he just went like, I'll switch scout for just, you know, a couple of seconds here, I think they would have had a bit more impact over on DTR.
Yeah, as well, and there's the other thing, and like I said before, I was happy about seeing. I think in this, when it was sniper v sniper at the very start with Menex, I think that having 2 soldiers worked really well. But I think, like you said before, Smile had a really tough job trying to both protect the combo and also still take space, clean up the weak players that are being left from spam, either from Amza, from Davey, or whoever else in the team. But like, having an extra scout do that would be so much easier. And then at the end, when they were getting these soldiers in behind over on SKEDDA, they were, like you saw, Peter was getting caught out over on the flank side of the map. There was players bombing into Ams. An extra scout there would have been very useful. But like, when Ams is hitting shots like he was for certain parts of that map, obviously it's a streaky classic sniper. When the shots are hitting, it makes it so hard to decide, you know what, we're going to put the sniper down and we're going to go back to scout, because you're thinking, look, like, it is one of those classes where if you're on form, you can turn the game by yourself.
I don't know. It just feels like you lose a lot for what seems like there is a strength to these double soldier sniper things. Where obviously, if they're playing very hide and seeky, it's the soldiers are having a much more favorable
What's
time.
round one? That's what we saw in round one.
Yeah, but they were just really, really finding it difficult. That once a soldier is put out of the fight, what is one soldier to do? And jump into those two scouts as well. It's just too difficult in my eyes. I think if you had like a superstar studded sniper, try saying that 7 times, and it's just maybe you could make that work, but I just wasn't seeing it enough. I think in my eyes.
Yeah, it was a good effort, but like I say, I just don't think they adapted enough after that second round when we saw the change of pace for these soldiers from SKEDDA. And yeah, it came back to bite them, even though there was a bit of a fight back in those final 2 rounds.
Yeah,
But
I could just see the sniper just bleeding into all the other people's gameplay and like why it was taking like was less heals for Davey. I felt like he was not really obviously getting pocketed because they were just staying around their like their sniper and their safe zone a bit more. Obviously, poor Peter can't have any sort of rotations. There's no scouts. Like, there's no scouts to kind of meet him. And sure, they could have someone that's like, oh, there's someone behind now. The Smile needs to go deal with them. But then Warp just, follows up a second later. And now he can't be in 2 places at once to instantly deal with these soldier bombs. It's just, you're losing so much.
Yeah, it makes it so tough. But again, it's been a sort of microcosm of their season because again it was a 3-1 loss on the logs when they go down pretty bad, but they were close rounds for some of them, but not going to matter at the end of the day as they're going to finish the season rock bottom all the way down on I believe 5 points as off their 1 map win and a couple of golden caps. Whereas SKEDDA, they've mission accomplished for them. They've shot up into playoffs. They've actually overtaken Garda. They've actually cleared no matter what happened over on the rest of the games that are still being played, potentially played next week or in a month's time, depending on when people decide to schedule things. That they're definitely clear of SKEDDA SKEDDA are definitely clear of Pepe's Pizza Party and Garda. So I think they're locked in for 3rd with that result. So they're Hydra, they're clear. They can get themselves ready for playoffs.
Yeah, the question now is basically whether we're going to be seeing Garda in the playoffs or Pepe's Pizza Party. I mean, it's going to be difficult because Pepe's Pizza Party have to beat Noob Panther, which they have shown no signs of weakness, I think, for Pepe's. But, I think they've had some little upsets here and there in their sort of games.
There is one other final thing that could happen. Forfence are not out of it because they're currently down as having a default loss against Pepe's Pizza Party. That game might still be happening. They might be getting that game undefaulted. So there is a chance Forfence could finish in as high as 25 points in this.
I didn't realise you could undefault something.
Well, they've undefaulted it already, and then it got redefaulted, but there's potential for it to get undefaulted again. Honestly, don't ask me. I'm as confused as everyone else. All I'm saying is that, like, SKEDDA are happy. They don't have to think about any of this because they're home and dry in the clear. They're in the playoffs.
Well, the only way we're going to find out all this is in future games. So if you want to keep track of that, obviously give us a follow here on the Print stream. Maybe even follow the Essentials as well. Follow any sort of media and social media from Essentials to keep up with any of our ongoing casts and coverage of this ETF2L 6v6 season of the autumn season. And I've been Turbotabs. With me has been Ben PL. Well, I'm sure you'll see us all again. A big thank you to Samus for doing the production tonight. And yeah, a big thank you for you guys at home for watching. And hopefully we'll see you again soon.